Hi guys, welcome to our daily encounter. In our reading today in the book of Esther, we find the Jewish community in distress. Haman, who was offended by the fact that Mordecai would not bow down to him, came up with this scheme to have all of the Jews eradicated. And this became a very distressing time for the Jewish people. And the one person that they could turn to help in this situation was Esther, who had made her way up the ranks from being a captive Jew who was an orphan to becoming queen. And Mordecai encourages Esther to speak to the king and to speak on behalf of the Jewish community. Well, Esther is very hesitant to do this because she knows that it's been a good month since she'd been called by the king to be in his presence. And she knows that no one can go to the king, including the queen herself. No one can go to the king without being summoned. And if you were to go to the king without being summoned, the only way you would survive without being killed would be if he held out the golden scepter. And she eventually concedes and says, yes, I'll go do it. If I perish, I perish, she says. And it's interesting when you compare Esther with Queen Vashti, how Queen Vashti was banished from the king because she didn't come when he summoned her. And now you have Esther coming when she wasn't summoned. And it ends up saving the Jewish community in the long run. But as we focus on the fact that, it was such a terrifying thing for Esther to approach the king. She even called for all the Jewish people to fast for 3 days. And she and the other women where she was fasted for 3 days. And it was a very scary thing to appear before King Ahasuerus without being summoned. And it could have meant her life. It's a very scary thing. But it was him and only him who could save the Jewish community because he was the highest authority, human authority, there in the kingdom. And this story ought to make us thankful that we don't have to be so concerned and so anxious about going to the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the God above all gods, to God himself, to Yahweh. We can approach him boldly. And we don't have to worry about him chopping off our heads or being angry with us when we approach him. But we can come before his throne boldly. We read about this in Hebrews chapter 4, where it says there in verse 16, it says, "Therefore let us draw near with confidence to the throne of grace so that we may receive mercy and find grace to help in time of need." And that's what Queen Esther was looking for. She was looking for mercy and grace to help in time of need, in a very desperate time of need for the Jewish community. And she had to go with much intrepidation, but we don't have to do that. It says here that we can go with confidence, and some translations would say we can go boldly before the throne of grace. And it's not because we are all that great. It's because we have a high priest who has borne our weaknesses. He has been tempted in every way that we have been tempted, yet without sin. And because we have a high priest, Jesus Christ, who sits at the right hand of the Father, we can come to the Father with boldness. And that's a wonderful thing when we find ourselves in distressing times, that we know we can lean on God. We can go to him boldly. We can speak to him openly and frankly and just express the distress that we're in and come to him for help. How great it is that he is willing to listen to us and to turn his ear towards us when we come before him. And again, it's based upon the fact that we have such a wonderful high priest. So let's be thankful today that we can go to the highest authority in all existence. And we can do it boldly and with confidence because we have Jesus Christ there as our intercessor, as our mediator, and as our high priest. So these are some things we can reflect on and think about as we do our reading today. With that, guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.